This is Echelons, my second part to this video, which is entitled Things That You Should Know About 5G Technology. Things that you should know about 5G technology. This is part 2. Now listen, 5G apparently was created first in Wuhan in China. Okay, Wuhan in China. Then we had this 5G technology being rolled out in the UK during 2020 when everybody was in lockdown and they had to take this thing, they had to take a BAP in their arm, okay? They had to take this BAP, not everybody, because some people refused, but a lot of people took the BAP, and now there's been a fallout. Listen, this 5G technology, it can only operate in very small waves, in millimeter waves. So wherever this technology is, it has to be put up close to things such as schools and hospitals, yeah, to educational authorities, universities, and places such as this, right? But this 5G technology also cannot apparently function properly if there's trees in the way. So the trees either have to be cut down or they have to be cut back. And sometimes if you look at a tree, you can see one side of the tree where 5G has been, looks really black or looks really dark, and the other side looks alive. So obviously this technology is doing something, okay? It's doing something to us, and it's doing something to the animals and to the plants. What is it? And why were these things being put up? Is there a link also between this 5G technology and what they're putting up in the skies there at the moment? These planes are pushing out something called chemtrails. Is there a link between that and the 5G technology? Now, I've said in the past video, we need to try and protect ourselves because this 5G technology is giving off radiation, which is very similar to what you have from microwaves. Now, if you know anything about microwaves, right, you put food inside a microwave and it shakes and it vibrates and it shakes and it vibrates the food really, really fast, yeah? And the molecules and the cells in the food are moving at such a fast rate and they're vibrating. Another thing is that the food is being cooked inside out, right? When it should be cooked outside inward, as nature intended, as nature has provided. When you cook by a natural flame, by natural light, you cook the food from the outside inward, right? Not from inside out. This is in direct opposite to the way that food should really be cooked. You see, we live in a synthetic world, a synthetic society, and we're being controlled by those higher uppers, okay? Those Luciferians and them Satanists. They want us to live in this synthetic world. And we should be trying to live organically in an organic world as nature has provided for us. Isn't it funny that microwaves act in opposition to what is natural and what is meant to be intended via nature? You see a lot of us as well, we're too busy with our smartphones, okay? And now we got these Google glasses, and we are so in tune to this frequency, and we're so in tune to anti-nature that we're forgetting about nature in itself and what nature has provided for us. We need to get out and get into nature, take off our shoes and our socks and ground ourselves with the positive ions and with the earth's frequencies. You see, we have an electrical field around the earth. We have a electrical magnetic field around us. Now, when you take off shoes and socks and you put your feet into the soil, it helps to ground you through this positive ions, and it helps to charge your organs. Another thing that we should be doing to protect ourselves from this 5G technology is using things such as quartz crystals, orgonite crystals, and shungite crystals. Shungite crystals, that's probably the most powerfulest crystal for helping to protect yourself against this 5G technology. Now, let me tell you something. Another thing that we should be doing is making sure that we eat the right foods. Go back to my other video, which I just done a minute ago. I'm not going to go back over all the foods, okay? Just go back to video 1, and I'll tell you some of the foods that you should be eating, because guess what? We have electric bodies, so we should be eating electric foods. Another thing is stay away from negative news. Right now, you see what's going on in America and what Trump's doing. Some people see this as good. Some people see it as bad. You see all the world. You see the wars that's going on in Europe and other parts of the world. You see the earthquakes that's going on. Yeah. You see all the things that's going on about assisted suicide and all of these other things. We need to try and stay away from negative news, because that pulls down our vibration. And guess what? When our vibrations are pulled down, we're operating off of fear. When we're operating off of fear, our bodies start shutting down. Our immune system, especially, starts shutting down. So we need to stay away from negative news. Stay away from your phone. Stay away from all this computer. Yeah, the computer apparatus. The computer apparatus, stay away from it. Yeah, stay away from using these virtual reality glasses. They're trying to take you out of nature. They're trying to take us out of nature. Let me tell you something else. This 5G, right, gives off a similar sort of thing to when you go into a country, right, that has had radiation such as what we had in some parts of Russia going back, I think it was in the 1980s, where they say people can't live in these places because there's been some kind of nuclear radiation, okay? So what are some of the similarities between a nuclear fallout or nuclear radiation and nuclear contamination and 5G? Here's some of the similarities. It causes loss of taste, okay? Causes loss of taste. You can't hardly taste anything. Loss of hair. Your hair starts falling out. Loss of smell. And diarrhea. And it also reduces your reproduction. It's linked to a lack of reproduction. This is a 5G technology. It's important to protect our energy and spend less time on our computers and on our devices. Get out into nature and get out into the sunlight. 5G hates the sunlight. 5G hates nature. There's a film that was released. It's called The Children of Men, which was released in 2006, directed by someone by the name of Alfonso Cuarón. And featuring actor Clive Owen. And a lot of these things that's going on in regards to this 5G technology and the spraying of chemtrails and some other things. This film here kind of shows it all. This is really not a film, it's a documentary. Going back, people, we really need to get out into nature. We need to protect ourselves by having things such as crystal. We need to also be eating the right foods. You see, nature cannot, The devil cannot live with the organic. It cannot live with the organic. Trying to make everything synthetic. Trying to make everything synthetic. We need to raise up our frequency. We need to raise up our vibration. Here's the emotional vibration chart, which I showed earlier on in my other video. The emotional vibrational chart. Frequency. Our bodies are made up of frequencies. Hate is one frequency. Love is another frequency. Yeah? Jealousy is another frequency. Envy is another frequency. Love is another frequency. You see, fear operates on 100 hertz frequency. It operates on 100 hertz frequency. That is one of the lowest, if not the lowest vibration. And then you have love, which operates on a 500 hertz frequency. And we should be trying to move up towards enlightenment, which is a 700 hertz frequency plus. 700 hertz frequency plus. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to this. Contamination, radiation. Contamination, radiation, which consists of hair loss, loss of smell, diarrhea, loss of taste, reduced reproduction. These are some of the things that 5G have been found to cause. We need love, people, over fear. We need understanding. We need to get out of this fear trap that we're in and this hatred thing and start having love towards each other. Another thing found with 5G, it affects your lungs by putting fluid on them. 5G also causes water molecules in our brains, lungs, and respiratory system. I say that again. 5G affects our lungs by putting fluid on them. 5G also causes water molecules in our brains, lungs, and respiratory system. We need to get out. We need to seriously get out, people, into nature. 5G waves. 5G waves are equal to also 5G waves, right? We're becoming slaves to these 5G waves. We're becoming slaves to these 5G waves. And our phones are also making us slave to these 5G waves. But it's not only making us slaves to the 5G waves, it's also putting us into our graves. Do you hear me? It's also putting us into our graves. We need to get out of this system that they're trying to provide for us. 5G is not any good, people. Anyway, this is Eldad Amara, my second part of this video. And if you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. There's one thing I always say to everyone. Don't take anything for granted what I'm telling you. Go do your own research. Do your research on chemtrails and do your research on 5G technology. Don't believe anything that I'm saying to you without checking it out for yourself first.